we're back over to the planning board here, and we've got this all nicely pressed, and this is where I have all the pins. I took the time and I stuck my pins in going towards each one of these points, and on both sides I've also pinned the top along here. Now it's time to cut out the lining, and so what we're going to do is we're going to come over here. And even though I didn't show you how I pinned these, make sure you do pin these to the lining. It's very important to keep the lining and the fabric together at this point. Now we're going to go ahead and cut this out. That's side number one. Move over to the opposite end. Follow the same procedure. Okay, now we got to do the top. Cut off the top excess lining. Now we're ready to pleat. Take our board, keep the top even with the board, several push pins, okay. Now we're going to start. Kind of the same way we made the pattern, except now we have some guidelines. You see where this point is right here? Kind of comes here, and there's a little point where each one of these like saw teeth are. Right? That's what we're going to be using, is these little points. Here, here. So what I'm going to do, the first thing I do is grab the center, just like I did in the pattern. Although now I don't have a center line, but I'm just going to grab it and pinch it. With that, I'm also going to grab this point right here, and I'm going to bring this point up. And then I'm going to stick a pin in. Now you can kind of tell, if you look at the back side of this lining right here, see if I can zoom in a little bit here on you. Okay. This is going to also, you're going to be able to tell by this piece right here of where you are. Because when you bring it down, see, this is a straight point right here. And this piece right here, this little angle right here will now become straight. When you bring it up to this point, and this right here, you can't really see it, but right here is where it starts to go on an angle, right there. It's straight, and then right there is where it starts to angle. That angle right there, if I were to keep it here, is when you bring this up, you want that to stay straight. So this whole piece right here, let me put a pin in it, remains straight right here. So I'm going to do that on the other side. Doing the same thing. I'm grabbing that point right where that sawtooth comes, point, and this is where the straightness is. That's where the straightness stops, right there. I'm going to grab my center, and I'm going to bring this up, like so. And remember, it's about an inch down from the top. And you can see, if I move my hand out of the way, how this is remaining straight. If you're over like this, you know you're not straight. So you want to make sure that you're bringing this and you're keeping a straight line. Remove your pin and replace it with the push pin. Now we're going to come back over here. I'm going to bring it back over so you can see it. Right again where that point is, here. I'm going to grab the center, and I'm going to bring this back up too. The same way. Remember, we're keeping the spacing about a ½ inch away. I know my camera keeps blurring in and out. Let me just back it up a little bit. Maybe it'll stop. Okay. Like so. Remove the pin. Replace it with the push pin. Again, this is remaining straight. Go back over to the other side. You see, I'm always grabbing the center. Remove the pin. Replacing with the push pin. Like that. Next one. Always grab the center first. Then you grab the point and pull it. Give it a little pull. See how that just formed? Bring it up. And you're trying to keep everything as straight as you can. Back this up just a little bit more. There we go. Grabbing the center, grabbing the point. Last one. I'm removing my pin so I can adjust each one of these plates to make sure they look even. Okay. Now we're going to take a measurement and see where we're at on the sides. I'm just at 6 inches here. I'm a little over. I'm going to push it in because we want to make sure, remember we've got these side boards here and that are just 6 inches. So you want to make sure this stays on the edge of this board. So I'm just going to bring it up just a hair more. I'm at 5 1/4. Okay, that's what we have so far. Bring it down so you can see it. So that is our swag pattern. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to put staples on each side of this to hold it in place while we sew them down. We're going to add a piece of fabric to the top of it. Right here. We're going to sew it this way and then flip it over. That's what's going to give us the finished edge. We're also going to do the same thing on the sides right here. So everything has a finished edge. So let's go ahead and staple it. Now this is a pair of plier stapler, I should say. And when you staple it, you want to make sure that you are not stapling right where you're going to be sewing it. So staple it a little farther back. Okay, that's that. Next step, I'm going to bring it over to the sewing machine. We're going to sew on, I call this a tacking strip, onto the top of it. We're going to sew it onto the sides, and then we're going to finish it off on the board. Catch you in a minute.